Hi, this is James, and in this video I'm going to share 7 tips for new teachers because this is actually one of the most requested topics that I get through my social media channels. 7, I don't know why, perhaps it's my favorite number, but it's going to be 7 tips for new teachers, so let me get started. My first tip is please ask for help. Do not be that teacher that believes that you can just take on everything and not ask for help. Ask teachers in your department and other departments, your administration, district level support staff. There are tons of teacher groups on Facebook that you could reach out, on Instagram. I know there are people who reach out to me and I do my best to answer. So please ask for help. Also, if at all possible, try to observe other teachers because that will help you grow as a teacher. Not to judge other people as you're teaching, but really to reflect on your pedagogy, to see things that they are doing that are working, perhaps maybe apply it to your classroom. And then if there's someone who's giving you attitude about asking for help, then most likely that person isn't someone you want advice from in the first place, so steer clear from those individuals. So again, ask for help. It's one of the best things that you can do. My next tip is to save student work so that way you can utilize them as exemplars for future students. And so you want to have the good, the bad, and the ugly, so high quality to low quality. And you might be thinking, James, I'm a new teacher, I don't have any work. But that's okay. This is where the last tip comes into play. You can ask your colleagues, you can reach out on social media and see if people will lend you work that you can utilize to show students, hey, this is high quality work and this is low quality work. But you can always do what I did, because I didn't do this purposely. I just would hoard things, and at the end of the school year during the summer and I was throwing things away, I was like, maybe I should just keep some of this work so that way I can show students this is what I really want, because I was frustrated that some of my students didn't do a lot of the quality work that I wanted to my first year. So I kept some really great examples and then some low quality work so that way I can show students. And it actually came in handy last school year because we were doing collaborative posters and a student asked to see an example, and I had saved some from 10 years ago, and it was a different topic, but the students were able to see this is why this is a high quality work sample and this is why this is a low quality work sample. And it worked out great because my students ended up producing a lot of high quality work, which I was able to hang up around my classroom. And if you're interested in collaborative posters, I will place a link down in the description section for you can so that way you can check those out. That's what I'm trying to say. The next tip is you want to keep a teacher emergency kit. Pack whatever you want to call it in case a situation arises. So for example, you have a headache, allergies, you need to take medication, you forget to brush your teeth like I did my first year. I woke up 20 minutes before the start of school, jumped out of bed, hopped in the shower, if you call it a shower, and as I was driving to work I realized I didn't brush my teeth. Luckily for me, I had a spare toothbrush, I had floss, and I had toothpaste in my emergency kit, so I was saved by the bell. Spare clothes, again, another situation where my zipper broke after I came out of the bathroom, and so again, I was saved by the bell. I got to work early, so I was able to go home real quick, change, but I keep a spare set of clothes with me at all times. So you can go to Target, Walmart, grocery store. I go to the travel section and just get small samples, so that way I have a kit. You do want to make sure that it's locked in case you have medication, because you don't want to lose your teaching certificate in case students gain access to that. And you also don't want to give students medication. The nurse should be giving medication. So I guess that's like a side tip. Don't ever give students medication because that can get you in a lot of trouble. Okay, so this next one might get me in a little bit of trouble just depending on how you feel about this. So pedagogy prior to Pinterest-gogy. I don't know if that's a word. If not, copyrighted, trademarked. So what I mean, and I know I have done classroom tours. I've shown my classroom in pictures on my social media accounts. What I will say is that I do, for the most part, feel that my pedagogy is where it should be. Whereas as a new teacher, you're coming in and you're learning how to become a teacher. And so time that you could be spending thinking about how you're gonna build relationships with students, your management flow, organization, what happens when, for example, all your students fail an assessment, or half your students fail an assessment and the other half do well, or working with students with special education needs, or English language learners, or your high achievers, how are you gonna deal with all that? Versus, okay, let me make sure that my classroom looks Pinterest or Instagram worthy prior to me thinking about my pedagogy is probably not the best route. What I will say, and I just need to be transparent, is I've built up a collection of resources over the years. I also had 2 different roles where my income was different. I also have my teacher author side gig with Teacher Pay Teachers, so there's extra income there that affords me the opportunity to buy things that maybe I might not have bought if I just were teaching alone. So that's just some things to keep in mind when you see all these fabulous pictures online. Is don't feel like you have to go out and buy all these things. You can take pictures, you can use student work to spruce up your classroom and build it that way, and slowly collect over the years, so that way when you're ready to have that Pinterest perfect classroom, your pedagogy is built, but then you would have built up also a collection of materials that you can then utilize for your classroom. This next one is a little bit hard for me. Every now and then it's don't recreate the wheel. And you know, as I just mentioned in the previous tip, really focus on developing your craft. And if you're always trying to reinvent something that's already there, whether it's in like your school resources, whether it's free on the internet, or like you can purchase it through like Teacher Pay Teachers, why spend all that time building something that's already available there or starting from scratch? It's one thing if you take a resource that's perhaps free or someone gave you and you modify it versus trying to build something from the ground up, which is sometimes a problem that I have. It's like I want the creative outlet in me wants to build something new, and that's great, but then time that I could be devoted to grading papers or thinking about how I'm going to formatively assess my students in an engaging way versus just a multiple choice test all the time is taken away because I'm always trying to recreate the wheel. So if at all possible, use resources that are already out there. This next tip is to realize that you are going to make mistakes. You're going to be pulled in different directions, and it's not an indicator of your effectiveness as a teacher. You are developing yourself. So realize that you will make mistakes and that you will grow and develop. So basically having a growth mindset versus a fixed mindset, because if you believe, oh, I'm a crappy teacher, I'm never going to be great, then yeah, that's probably going to end up happening and translating in the classroom and may eventually lead to your eventual, departure from the career. Last but not least, and certainly the most important, I believe, is to take care of yourself. So I'm not going to spend a lot of time on this, but in my videos, I've shared my struggles with my own mental health, dealing with anxiety and depression well before I got into teaching, but it's something that I'm constantly aware of and having to deal with and adjust as I teach. And I have strategies that worked for me in the past, and I'm learning new strategies. So for example, I work out all the time, but I realize I'm not drinking enough water. So I've been over the summer drinking lots and lots of water to stay hydrated, because I need that to help me focus and just to stay hydrated. So whatever take care of yourself means to you, make sure you're doing that, because if you're not okay here, it's going to translate physically, and no matter how good you think you are of hiding it, or you believe you're good at hiding it, it will eventually creep up into the classroom. Your students will notice it, your colleagues will notice it, and it's not going to be helpful for you developing into becoming the best teacher that you can possibly be. So take care of yourself. So those are my tips for this video. If you're interested in more tips, you can check out my social media accounts and make sure to follow, so that way you can stay up to date with insights. Do me a favor, if there was anything about this video that you liked, then make sure to hit that like button, comment down below, and or share the video. If you haven't already done so, make sure to subscribe so that way you can bond with James. As always, thanks for watching.